Hello and welcome to American History Notes. These are notes I've made of my conclusions from studying American history. Um, and you might disagree with them or see something different, and they're just a survey. It covers things kind of superficially. But let's talk about New England. The events in England itself were important for the development of the new colonies in America. The troubles in England beginning in 1637 prevented Charles I from suppressing the colonies as his friends and its enemies wanted him to do. A bloody civil war between Cavaliers supporting the king and Roundheads supporting Parliament and the Puritans broke out in 1641 and continued until 1649, with one short break until King Charles I was beheaded. Parliament set up a republic and called the Commonwealth of England, which didn't work out. So in 1653, Oliver Cromwell was installed by the Roundhead Army to be the Lord Protector of England. After his death and his own son's resignation, Charles II assumed power in 1660 and again attempted to rule without a parliament. During the 2 decades of 1640 to 1660, England's American colonies were left pretty much to themselves. Although New England Puritans agreed with the Roundheads, they would not go along with the efforts to overthrow the monarchy and twice refused to permit Parliament ships from seizing royalist ships in their harbor. They declared their freedom from control by sending John Winslow to London to declare that their charter gave them absolute power of self government. Proof of the English capacity for self government was evidenced by the formation of the New England Confederation in 1643. This loose federal union is designed to settle was designed to settle boundary disputes and other disputes between the four colonies of Massachusetts, Plymouth, Connecticut, and New Haven, and to provide mutual protection against Native Americans who tried to resist the onslaught of Europeans, and also protection against the Dutch and the French. Several important disputes were settled, and King Philip's War in 1675 and 76 was coordinated by it. The colonists were almost all English Puritans, with few exceptions, for quite a long time. Also, they were middle class farmers, artisans, and tradesmen with property, able to leave wills for their descendants so this property could be passed on to the next generation. New Englanders in the 1600s emphasized education for white people, people of European descent, and free public education was the New England legacy to the rest of the country, although it has become hopelessly corrupted by the paganism in the latter part of the 20th century. It is a noteworthy fact that almost every famous educator of agnostic or atheistic thought, from Horace Mann to John Dewey, was a New Englander of Puritan stock. Elementary education, later known as the 3 R's for reading, writing, and arithmetic, became the parents' responsibility by an act of the Bay Colony in 1642. And 5 years later, every village that had 50 or more families was required to appoint a schoolmaster. Later, towns of 100 or more families were required to set up a grammar school modeled after English schools. The intent of public education was to be able to read so one could read the Bible, and to cipher or do arithmetic so one could do business. Eventually, in the middle of the 1600s, a cow yard in the small town of Cambridge became the spot for a college named after a young benefactor who left his entire library to it. His name was John Harvard, and it is known after his name today. William and Mary College in Virginia was founded in 1693, and Connecticut's Yale in 1701. But Harvard set the standard for education. The first printing press in the English colonies was set up there, and the first doctrinal dissertation on Hebrew as being the mother tongue of all humanity came from this college. To understand this theory would require a detailed Bible study, an archaeological study of Proto-Negev, and look into the theories of the origins of modern written languages and the second commandment related to Moses and Mount Sinai, which I go over in World History Notes. So we'll talk about some fun things about New Englanders and Puritans that are surprising next time that I learned. And I look forward to talking to you again. I hope you had fun.